Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. On today's episode, we're continuing our basement project. The electricians have come and gone. We've made a ton of progress. We're working on the drywall. We're working on closing this place up. We're getting down to the short list. Stick around to the end of the episode, and I have a sneak peek on our next home project. Enjoy the episode. The electricians have come and gone. We've passed inspection, so we start boarding. And I tell you, we ended up finally buying, after years and years of just hanging it with a regular impact gun and drills and drywall screws, we finally bit the bullet and invested in one of those Autofeed screw guns. Game changer. I know we're typically on the Ryobi train for a lot of tools, but this thing, Ryobi doesn't make one as far as I know. So ended up with a Dewalt with the Autofeed screws for drywall. Lifesaver, especially for doing ceilings. Just got the grip here. Autofeed. Highly recommend. Quick tip for hanging drywall corner beads. We like to use a narrow crown stapler. These are great for getting corner beads in place and holding them in place for you like an extra set of hands. Get them exactly where you want, hit them with a few staples, and then come back with screws, screw them in after. Another investment I made, I haven't mudded any drywall in years. Very little, just patches here and there on jobs, but this is probably the most mudding I've done in a very long time. So I ended up buying this set by GoldBlatt on Amazon. It's a pretty decent kit. Pretty sure I paid like 60 bucks Canadian on Amazon. Comes with the metal tray, the little painter's tool for cleaning rollers and opening cans and stuff like that. With the end unscrews, and there's a little flat end Phillips head on it. And you could put this on a handle if you want to do some scraping. Comes with a 5-inch, a 6, an 8, and a 12. And for for a jack of all trades like myself, did a pretty decent job. I'll put a link in the description down below for all these products. Like I said, these drywall knives, I don't really typically, other than random patches here and there on jobs like in a bathroom or a kitchen if you have to move an outlet or something, I don't typically touch a lot of mudding and taping. But this is probably the first time in years that I've done like a big chunk of a basement. It probably took us about 3 days to board the whole basement, and it probably took about 3 or 4 days of mudding and a full day of sanding. Because we don't have the floors in yet, it's a perfect opportunity. We brought in our sprayer, our paint sprayer, and we sprayed the whole the ceilings and walls with a primer. Just because overspray didn't matter, we just covered up the windows. There's no doors or flooring or anything yet, so this is the perfect opportunity to haul out the sprayer. Just for those who are curious, for smaller projects like doors and trim and stuff, we just use this Avanti HVLP. It's corded, and you fill up the little bucket here, and it's great for when we have to do like a bunch of doors and trim and stuff. You can put oil and water in here, but we only really use like latex, water-based latex. And this is what we use for small stuff. And whenever we have big projects, like we're painting a whole basement or something, or a whole outside of a building or anything like that, we have a Graco Magnum Project Painter Plus. It's got a pretty decent gun on it. Long cord. We ended up bought the extension for it. This will go right into a 5-gallon bucket. You can paint all day with this. This is what we use to put the primer in this basement. Now that the mess is gone, start doing all the pretty stuff. We started laying our floors. We did a luxury vinyl plank flooring in like a lighter oak color We use luxury vinyl plank flooring for a ton of our projects. If you guys need more information on how to install it and tips and tricks, I have several other videos on that. I'll link them down below. We ended up doing the whole basement in the vinyl plank, except for the little laundry room alcove in the bathroom. They both got a marble look porcelain tile, and the new trend, it seems, is giant tiles. These are 36 by 36. Like, for example, the laundry room only took 2 tiles, and I think the bathroom floor was only 6. And we're gonna end up doing the whole shower. We did a fiberglass tray for the shower, and we're gonna do the same 36 by 36 tiles up the wall, and a glass enclosure that comes with the tray. Next step, after the flooring's on, we can start building our door frames and getting all our interior doors up and getting all that. Start closing. We can start narrowing down our interior finishes. Because of some height restrictions in some spots, a typical setup for a door is like an 80-inch tall door, and you need an 82-inch opening. We couldn't get that in all the spots, so some of our doors are actually 78s, which are a little bit harder to find in our area. So we couldn't buy any pre-hung doors, so we ended up building all our door frames from scratch and routing all the hinges and everything. More time consuming, but in the end it'll all work out. We typically use like a pre-primed pine for our jambs and our door stops and all that stuff. If the timing allows it, we'll typically pre-paint all the pieces before we put it together, the jambs, the door stop, and the baseboards. We'll get 1 or 2 coats of paint on there with the spray gun if possible. And then after everything's all assembled, we could just do one final touch-up coat. Way easier to do all this stuff while it's flat on the ground. We could put on sawhorse or whatever. Then when it's all up and installed, we could just hit it with a brush and a quick mini roller, and it looks great. If you guys would like a detailed video on how we hang interior doors, leave a comment down below, let me know. Okay, now it's time for some case and base. The way I like to do door casings is I will measure the left side and the right side with my reveal. Let's say it's 1/8 of an inch. I'll cut each piece and I'll put them in temporarily with one brad nail, line them up where I want them, and then I can take the measurement corner to corner of the long side of my miters on the top piece, cut that, make sure it all lines up, make sure the miters are nice and clean, and then I can tack the whole thing. We either use the 18 gauge brad nailer, or I use glue and the 23 gauge pin nailers, so there's no nail heads to fill later. And you've been watching for a while. I'm a big fan of this Instabond with the activator to keep my miters tight, and my outside corners of my baseboard. Glue, either the regular yellow wood glue or the CA glue. One thing to mention, before I actually installed any of this case or baseboard, did 2 coats of flat white paint on the ceiling and 2 coats of eggshell on the walls. We are big fans of the Sherwin-Williams paints. We find they're not the cheapest, but we find their quality is great and their coverage is great. And every time we use a cheaper paint, we always end up going back to Sherwin-Williams. If you're in the market for flat white ceiling paint, this Promar 200 from Sherwin-Williams is like, all these other paints call themselves a flat white. This is the flattest white paint we've ever used. Has great coverage, 2 coats, perfect. This will make your ceilings look great. The only time we typically venture from Sherwin-Williams, other than if a client requests a different kind of paint, this Bear Premium Plus sold through Home Depot. Their cabinet and trim, it's like a interior semi-gloss white. We find this has great coverage if you're doing baseboards and case. We use this stuff all the time. It has great coverage in 2 coats on trim, but on the 3rd coat, for the price, this is the best bang for buck for trim paint. So the ceilings are going to be flat white. All the doors and trim are going to be a semi-gloss, just straight white. And the walls will be eggshell. It's an off-white with a slight blue-greenish tinge to it. Can't remember the name off the top of my head at the moment, but it's going to be a very clean look. A lot of they're trying to brighten up this basement with the lighter floors, the white trim, the white ceilings, and the just very bright off-white walls. We've made a ton of progress over the last couple of weeks. This job is almost done. On the next episode, we're going to finish up the bathroom, finish up this base, do our touch-ups, I gotta cap all the stairs, put up the jewelry, and we'll do a final walkthrough and give these clients their basement. If you're getting anything from these episodes, please consider subscribing. If you need something to watch, you need something else to watch, I have a whole playlist on building this 20 by 24 shop. And as I promised, sneak preview on a future home project, addition on the back of the house. Shop is done. Now we're on to the addition on the back of the house. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for hanging out with me today.